What happens when the two biggest cruise ships in the world pull into the same private island on the same day? We're talking about Star of the Seas and Icon of the Seas, two floating cities that each carry over 7,000 passengers and crew. That's potentially 15,000 people descending on one tiny island in the Bahamas all at once. Would there be enough chairs, enough food, even space to relax? Or would it feel like a floating theme park emptied out onto the beach? We set out to find out, and the results definitely surprised us. Royal Caribbean just launched the second ship in its Icon class, the Star of the Seas. The Icon of the Seas released back in January of 2024, and the Star joined the fleet just last month in August of 2025. Both of these ships are an engineering marvel of their own, both weighing in at a staggering 248,663 gross tons, stretching nearly 1,196 feet long, and spanning 20 decks each. To put that into perspective, that's heavier than 4 Eiffel Towers, or the weight of about 15,000 elephants, roughly the same as 2 Hoover Dams worth of concrete.
Each of these ships can accommodate around 5,610 passengers at double capacity, scaling all the way up to nearly 7,600 guests if every single bed on the ship is filled. And in addition to this staggering number of guests, each ship also holds a dedicated crew of about 2,350 on board, making the total capacity over 10,000 passengers. The Icon's home port is in Miami, and the Star's home port is in Port Canaveral, so you wouldn't expect these two sisters to cross paths very often, except for when they're both docked at CocoCay.
We boarded the Star of the Seas during a 4-day showcase sailing, with our only port being a stop at Royal Caribbean's private island, CocoCay. On the sailing before ours, the Star of the Seas had been in port at CocoCay with the Grandeur of the Seas, Royal's newest and largest ship, completely eclipsing one of its oldest and smallest ships. On our sailing, we had the complete opposite experience, with Star porting right next to her sister, the Icon.
We were excited for the opportunity to see both of these mega ships together, but then we started to worry about being on the island with that many people. Could CocoCay really handle what could be 10,000 to 15,000 guests?
So we set out to see just how packed CocoCay would be with these two mega ships in port. We are Hannah and Jeremy, and this is episode 3 of our Star of the Seas series. So be sure to check out those other 2 videos after this one.
This is not our first time at CocoCay. Most recently, we visited in December of 2024 while on a sailing of the Utopia of the Seas. December in the Caribbean can be a beautiful time. The weather is still very mild, but the downside is that the water can be quite cold despite the daily sunshine. We still enjoyed our time on the island, but it was a little rough getting into the water to snorkel.
But the very first time we visited CocoCay was in October of 2014, and boy has it changed. It was still a tender port back then, and the water park was probably just an idea on a whiteboard somewhere. But back to modern day CocoCay, today you can basically customize any kind of day that you want on the island. Looking for adventure? They have a zip line or jet skis. Looking for a beach day? Consider Chill Island or the South Beach area. Not a beach person? Don't worry, there's a pool. Want to spend the day without kids, yours or other people's, I guess? Hideaway Beach is adults only. If you've got a couple extra grand laying around, consider booking an overwater cabana for the day.
With so many options on the island and 2 mega ships unloading thousands of guests at once, we were curious what our day would actually look like. Would we be fighting for lounge chairs and waiting in long lines, or would CocoCay still feel like the tropical escape that it's meant to be? Well, here's how our day unfolded. We woke up pretty early and watched the sunrise as we pulled into the dock, and got the chance to watch as the Icon docked right next to us. It's honestly so astounding seeing these ships this big in motion.
Once dressed for the day, we went down to the main dining room for breakfast, and it was practically empty. Maybe this was a good sign for how the day would be. I'm sure that the coffee bar and the food jammer were packed, with people gearing up for the day. So here's a cruise expert pro tip. If you drink iced coffee, order one the night before at the coffee bar and put it in the beverage fridge in your room. If you like hot coffee, you can have it delivered via room service, but that way, as soon as you wake up, the coffee's ready for you.
We finished up breakfast right as they announced that the gangways were open, so we jumped in line and stepped onto the island. finding ourselves absolutely dwarfed between these two mega ships. Our first order of business was to check in for our booked excursion. Knowing Icon and Star would be in port together, we booked a ride on the Up, Up, and Away balloon ride to hopefully get a bird's eye view of them and the island. The balloon ride goes up less than 50% of the time because it is very dependent on near perfect weather. They need basically no wind, and there can't be any lightning within 30 miles of the island.
When you book your excursion online, you pick a time, so we picked 9:30, thinking that it would be the first thing we did for the day before setting up on the beach to snorkel and relax. When we checked in, they let us know that they were on hold and that we should keep an eye on the balloon throughout the day. You can see it from anywhere on the island, and if it is running, you would be able to see it going up and down. So we could come back anytime without an updated reservation time needed. So we continued on to the Chill Island area and set up at a couple of beach chairs. Chill Island is generally considered the best area for snorkeling on CocoCay, and that's for a couple of different reasons.
First, the water here is usually calmer, especially compared to the areas with heavier boat traffic. That makes it much easier to see what's below the surface without getting tossed around by waves. Second, there are plenty of rocky outcroppings and even some artificial reef structures close to the shore, which attract fish and other marine life. And if you want the best chance at seeing something more exciting than a few minnows, it's best to snorkel early in the morning. There are less people in the water to stir up the sand and scare off the fish. So, we grabbed our gear and headed straight for the water. We packed our own snorkel and masks from home, but you can also rent them on the island.
As soon as we got in the water, the first thing that we noticed were dozens of moon jellyfish drifting all around us. They were surprisingly mesmerizing, like little glass umbrellas floating in the current. Moon jellies can sting you, but their sting is usually mild, more of an annoyance than a danger. So we just tried to keep a little distance and watch them drift by. As we swam further out, we caught glimpses of a few different fish, including some surgent majorfish with their bold yellow and black stripes, a few yellowtail snapper, and the colorful parrotfish. We then made it to the artificial reef, made from the side of a sunken ship with some old cannons, which is where we spotted a barracuda hanging around. He didn't want anything to do with us, and we didn't want anything to do with him. We also spotted a couple of different rays gliding along the bottom. I've seen people mention sea turtles here, but no sightings of those for us.
After snorkeling, we headed back to our spot on Chill Island, where we had set up on the complimentary beach chairs. There were a ton of them lined up along the sand, and while they definitely started filling up as the morning went on, there were still plenty to choose from, even with the two mega ships in port. As we were drying off, crew members came around offering drinks to be brought right to our chairs. If you have the drink package on board, it does also work on the island as well. It made the whole experience feel laid back and easy, exactly what you want on a beach day.
After a few hours of lounging, we packed our bag and moved to our second stop of the day, the Hideaway Beach, the adults-only area. It's a pretty long walk to get over there, but if you walk back to the main pier, you can catch a tram over to the Hideaway. There is an extra charge to go here, but that also means that it is capped at a certain capacity.
Our first stop inside the Hideaway was at the quick service restaurant, the Hideaway Hut. We'd heard that the food in the Hideaway Hut was just a little better than some of the other places on the island, and I would have to agree. It's classic chicken or fish sandwiches, fries, mozzarella sticks, and the kind of stuff that you would expect from a beach hut. We didn't have any trouble finding a couple of lounge chairs here either. The beach area was pretty wide open. We did wander over to the pool area, which was a little bit more crowded, but that was probably to be expected given the swim-up bar.
This area is almost the opposite of Chill Island, with a DJ playing music all afternoon and a swim-up bar cranking out drinks as fast as people can order them, and also a beach ball volleyballing around the pool. It's definitely more of a party vibe over here, so if you're looking for some quiet relaxation, Chill Island is probably more your speed. But if you want a livelier atmosphere with music and dancing and drinking right in the pool, Hideaway is where you'll want to be. We grabbed a couple of drinks, found a spot, and did a little people watching. Our cruise was in mid-August, so we were starting to approach the heat of the day, and we were planning to head back towards the ship when we caught a glimpse of the balloon going up. So we decided that was going to be our last stop before getting back on board.
The Up, Up, and Away balloon on CocoCay is hard to miss. It's multicolored and super bright, and it rises up to 450 feet above the island, giving you a full 360-degree view of the ships, beaches, and surrounding turquoise waters. Each flight can hold up to 30 passengers at a time, and because it's tethered, it stays safely in place while slowly ascending and descending. From up there, you can really see just how massive the star and the icon are side by side, and just how many people will be sailing away on those ships this afternoon. We got checked in, signed some waivers, and within a few minutes, we were gently lifted into the air. The view was incredible. The beaches, the pools, and even the water park looked pretty small from above. It really gave us a new perspective on CocoCay, and it was the perfect way to wrap up our day before heading back to the ship.
If you've been around for a while, you'll know that Jeremy is not a huge fan of heights. He was a little uneasy doing this, but the walkway is pretty wide and it seems very stable. But the guide did a very good job explaining exactly what was going to happen as the balloon went up and down, letting us know when we were going to feel the bumps that were caused by the tether and the gears. We headed back to the ship around 2 p.m., a few hours earlier than the all-aboard time of 4:30, but we were in need of an afternoon nap to sleep off that August Bahamian sun.
I've seen a few posts on social media from people saying that they felt like the island was so crowded on the day that both the star and the icon were in port. And I obviously can't speak for all of the areas on the island like the Oasis Pool and the South Beach area, but we found that the crowd level was totally reasonable, and it seemed like there were always lounge chairs available, even with all the chair hogs everyone's complaining about on Facebook.
Overall, we came away really impressed with how CocoCay handled these two mega ships in port at the same time. Between Chill Island, the Hideaway, and the balloon ride, it never felt overcrowded, and there were always spots to relax, eat, and enjoy the water. The island clearly has the space and infrastructure to manage large crowds without it feeling chaotic. So if you're worried about the star and the icon visiting together, our experience definitely shows that it is totally doable.
Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this look at CocoCay from the Star of the Seas, make sure to check out the other videos in our Star series, where we explore the ship itself, we test out all the restaurants, and show you even more of what it's like sailing on Royal Caribbean's newest Icon-class ship.
Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of the upcoming adventures. We've got a couple more City in a Day videos coming soon, and we're doing a fall trip to the Pacific Northwest, and we might sneak in a trip to Dollywood this year. See you all on the next adventure.